Hello. My name is Raul Norton, also known as Du, and welcome to the 7030 Opinion Space. Now, it's beautiful Saturday today. I'm sitting around pondering what I could speak on. And I know I do a lot of listening and hearing conversation and talking to people, watching a lot of news. And something that actually stuck out to me is I don't know what I was listening to, but I know I heard it on the news where someone came over and says we're gonna shun oversimplification or something like that. So they basically say, we're gonna stop dealing in the simple and we're gonna make everything complex and uncomplicated. And I know a lot of times I put out a video and I say certain things or what I feel and how I believe. And granted, a lot of that is about how I feel and what I'm talking about at the time and at the moment. But I'm sure that there's some period of my conversation where it may be what they would say. There'll be a counter. I don't know exactly what I'm trying to say. What's the word I'm looking for? Contradiction. There may be a little bit of a contradiction in certain things I say because I say I believe this or I think this or what's not. With that said, I'm not wanting to stray too far from what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about, people saying let's shun oversimplification, in a sense, meaning that nothing is simple and we need to make things complicated. And I know I've stated before, I don't think anything is really complicated. I think things can be difficult but not complicated. And then I use the word complicated a couple of times, saying things are complicated. So with that said, the one thing I wanted to talk about was people trying to get away from simple and make things complex, right? But yet, the building blocks and the understanding of most things start from a simple point. And as simple as it can be, I'm breaking down from the lowest level, working all the way up to the difficult stages, or for some people would say the quote unquote complicated stages, where I believe that, repetition covers complications. So it's not necessarily complicated, it's just a process of learning and repeating, rinse, repeat, do it over and over, and you'll get it. But to say that nothing is simple and everything has to be difficult or complicated seems like a bit of a difficult thing for me to understand, because every conversation, it feels like there's a low level power move. What I mean is, like, in every introduction, every conversation you have with people, there's always a push and a pull in the conversation, and there's always this position where someone is trying to establish their ability to be the person, right? Whatever that may be, So every time you get introduced to someone, 9 out of 10 times, if it's a new person or a strange person, the conversation, regardless how the conversation go, this new person tends to try to find a way to lead the conversation in their direction or have some kind of a narrative to pull in their direction. So every situation becomes kind of like a tension leading to a power move. Because why? Everybody, like I always says, is looking out for their best interests. And regardless what people say and regardless what people do, you got to look out for you and yours, meaning you and your family, you and your friends, and so on and so forth. But I noticed that every conversation and news footage and everything I talk about, people tends to want to say nothing is simple. Everything is complex, to where they're doing that power move, in my opinion, on the conversation to establish that on this level of thing I am dealing with, you will not be able to understand this because it is too quote unquote complicated for you to understand it. And yet, every time I speak on it, I'm going to put out these phrases of that to make people to feel like, hey, you know what, that really is complicated. Yes, I often say, there's professionals to everything, every level, everything I speak on. I'm sure there's a professional out there who could explain it way better than I can. I'm sure there's a professional out there who's studying the deepness and the most complex or complicated part of it, meaning that I don't have the repetition, I don't have the time, and I didn't put in the time, so I can't fully figure it out. But what I do know is that the basis and the simplest way to communicate with people is usually the most honest way. And when people decided that having an honest conversation is not good enough because they have to establish that power move to where they make it complicated and say you don't know or you don't understand or you wouldn't know. But if the conversation was supposed to be that complicated, that means on some level they establish that they know more, but yet they can't speak in terms of simple understanding for the person who they believe know less or who knows less, right? So they choose to say, I'm going to always establish the ability to have this sense of authority or a power move over you as an individual. And I just was sitting there, pondering, the level of complexity or complication or misunderstanding in conversation seems unusually high nowadays. It's like it's very high in regular strange conversation with people, that you have a decent conversation and you walk away without feeling like they was trying to win or you were trying to win or you trying to get over. It's very difficult to have those conversations today. People are not able to talk to each other without feeling like, I lost or I give or he win. And that is basically all I wanted to come over here and say today on the 70-30 show, is that there's a percentage of people that is always going to be looked at on that 30% scale of not being able to overcome, understand, and they will always have to fight. And then you got the other 70% people with understanding and privilege who choose to say, I'm never going to really waste my time helping that person because they will never get it. And it feels like that is pretty much a difficult thing for me to really understand. But enough of my rant. Today's another nice Saturday. It's still hot out here, so hopefully again you're out there watching this video and you're in a nice cool area and you're not burning up, or if you are out there in the heat, keep yourself nice and hydrated. And thanks for coming out to the 70-30 opinion space. I appreciate all the views, the likes, the comments, so the subs and all that other good stuff. So keep yourself safe out there, and thank you for watching the video, and I'll see you on the next one.